Hi and welcome to the Elicit live stream number 7. I'm Andreas, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Elicit, and Elicit is an AI research assistant. Today we're doing the same thing we're doing every week, which is we're gonna research a topic that I don't know anything about and that I have not prepared at all. We'll have a time limit, 30 minutes, and we'll see how far we get. As usual, this is about learning in public and about finding out how we can make Elicit better. Today we can actually use the notebooks version of Elicit Live. I've been using various previews over the last few weeks, but today this is deployed at elicit.com and you can just sign up, use it yourself, use exactly the same version that I'm using. If you want to suggest topics for the future in the comments, please go ahead and do so. For today, I was tasked with researching semaglutide. I don't really know what it is. We'll find out together what it is, what it's good for, and I guess we'll just go ahead and start. I'll start the timer. All right, timer's running, and we'll just start with what is semaglutide. You'll see one of the new things here is it auto-generates a notebook title that we can also edit. We're in this notebook view where we can add steps incrementally one by one. All right, let's look at the summary of the top 8 papers for just a quick glimpse at what it is. Glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist used to treat type 2 diabetes and obesity. Oral injectable forms, significant impact on glycemic control, weight reduction, cardiovascular risk factors, promising option for the management of diabetes and its comorbidities. All right, that's already pretty helpful. I think I want a little bit more detail, so what I'm going to do is gonna filter for PDF, filter for somewhat more recent studies, and we'll check if there's a review here that we can take a look at. Okay, it's very promising. Actually, I think I'll want to read the summary again now that I've filtered more. Okay, it's a receptor agonist used in the treatment of type 2 diabetes, as before oral injectable forms, reducing body weight, decreasing systolic blood pressure, promoting weight loss in obese and overweight individuals. Safety profile is maybe something useful to recognize for later to look into. Okay, I'm gonna try selecting these papers and creating a new chat step, and we'll ask what should I know about semaglutide, including the full text of the papers here. So it seems like, while this is running, it seems like one thing we already want to be aware of are there are different kinds of uses. There's use for treating type 2 diabetes, and then it's just used for weight loss. There's blood pressure effects, and then we might want to look into the safety profile as well. Okay, this seems like useful information, but I prefer it as bullet points. And the specific, I'll already start thinking about the next steps here while we're getting this. I think one thing I'm really interested in is how how does it work? Like what's the mechanism? Actually, we can just do that based on the review papers we got at the top. So I think I'm interested in two things here. Organize the bullet points by category, instead add category for mechanism. How does it work? Collapse this. Okay, here, this is a relatively high level here. Enhances the body's ability to lower blood sugar levels by stimulating insulin secretion in a glucose-dependent manner, inhibiting glucagon secretion, slowing gastric emptying. Different ways it's available, clinical efficiency, side effects, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, transient. Okay, let's see if we can find out more about what is the mechanism of semaglutide and for lowering blood sugar. Actually, let's just start more generally with what the mechanism of semaglutide is and see if we can find anything interesting here. We might once again want to filter by PDF. I guess there are already some. Yeah, I'm still gonna filter by PDF here. And the specific thing I want to learn is, so it is like this thing, this receptor agonist, but then we would like to know what are the steps between this making it to your body and then these things happening, so insulin secretion, etc. Let's see if we can take these new papers, step by step, explain how semaglutide affects the body. Explain simply. And mechanistically. At the same time, we can actually add a column here so that we can analyze it by paper. Mechanism of action for semaglutide. If you add a few sentences, a few bullets, explain how semaglutide affects the body. All right. Here's the step-by-step. Okay, let's see. Let's just read it first. Mimics GLP-1. Semaglutide is similar to a naturally occurring hormone in the body called glucagon-like peptide 1, GLP-1. GLP-1 is released after eating and has several effects on the body that help lower blood sugar levels. When blood sugar levels are high, semaglutide stimulates the pancreas. Okay, here in summary, semaglutide works by mimicking the action of the GLP-1 hormone, which helps lower blood sugar levels by increasing insulin release, decreasing glucagon production, slowing digestion. So I think one question here is there a difference between semaglutide and GLP-1 and the GLP-1 hormone? Okay, we also might want to just look at what the papers above said about the mechanism of action on a paper-by-paper basis. I just switched it to high-quality QA. So this one does not have a mechanism of action. Gonna kick it out. Does not have one. Not have one. And here what I'm going to do is the same as before. First answer based on priors, second answer based on the papers provided. We're back to the papers. All right, we filter it down to the 3 papers that actually do discuss the mechanism. This one seems quite relevant. And here's the one that's about obesity. This one has many citations, but it's in rodents. So let's still read all of these so we can get a sense for what the mechanism of action is. Okay, so there are GLP-1 receptors in the brain that modulate food preference, reduce food intake, cause weight loss, and we know that semaglutide is it imitates GLP-1 basically with respect to those receptors. And the effect of GLP-1 effectively is to increase insulin and decrease glucagon. I think the less don't know what glucagon exactly is. Reduces blood glucose levels, reducing body weight. Minimal impact on gastric emptying here. Interesting. Okay, now, so we went, here's a question where we asked, is there a difference between the GLP-1 hormone that's naturally produced in the body and semaglutide? We asked first answer based on priors, second answer based on the papers provided. So based on priors, I mean, obviously one is the naturally occurring hormone. Native GLP-1 has a very short half-life in the bloodstream. Semaglutide seems like it's more long-lived. It's not degenerated by the enzyme that's mentioned here. So you only need it once weekly in injectable form, daily for the oral form. Okay, now let's see if the paper has provided anything relevant as well. It was developed from the backbone of human GLP-1 and then had specific modifications to enhance efficacy and duration. There's an additional side chain in the molecule which increases the resistance to degradation, prolongs its half-life. Okay, so it seems like the half-life is the main difference here. Are there any side effects that GLP-1 has? Sorry, that semaglutide has that GLP-1 doesn't have? Here I'll also check the paper side effects of semaglutide. We might even want to ask the same one for the other questions we had, for the other papers we had above, namely these. Maybe even the first ones. Seems good to be comprehensive for this particular question. All right. Let's start with a summary here. Largely consistent with GLP-1 receptor activation. Just more frequency or intensity relative to the naturally occurring hormone. So nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. These are also effects of GLP-1. Increased risk of gallbladder events, retinopathy complications, potential increase in heart disease because of the activation of the GLP-1 receptor beyond what normally happens. Okay, so it seems like the important thing here is to know how frequent are the side effects, are the non-natural side effects such as gallbladder events, etc. And while we're running this, we can go back and see if we found more side effects in any of our searches. I'm going to start at the top. So, in retinopathy, nausea, vomiting, headache, decreased appetite, low risk of hypoglycemia, rare case of pancreatitis. I guess one question that seems interesting is, are there long-term side effects that go beyond the short-term ones mentioned here? Let's read the remainder of the short-term ones not mentioned. Yeah, once again, nausea, vomiting, gallbladder issues. Yeah, it seems like the pattern is pretty consistent here, where nausea and vomiting and similar effects are pretty common. Okay, here we have some numbers on how frequent these stranger side effects are. (1.4% of patients treated with semaglutide experienced scalp-bearer events, compared with 1.9% in the placebo group. That seems strange. Let's take a look at the adverse effects here. Do we have a table? We have many tables. These are a bit small though. This does seem like a great paper though. Safety of I think we might just want to read the conclusion here. Mild to moderate transient gastrointestinal disturbances. Okay, this one we might want to look at. No unexpected safety issues. Okay, I think we want to check if there are any studies on the long-term effects of semaglutide. One interesting thing to note here is because of the long-term effects, I think Elicit automatically added the longitudinal study filter. Let's see if there are semaglutide. I'm going to add the abstract filter here as well as a keyword filter, just to make sure we are only looking at studies that really talk about it. And this one. Okay, here they look at after 6 and 12 months. No impact on safety. I think this was specifically looking at switching between different kinds of GLP-1 agonists. Right, here we're still running our search on the long-term effects, and I think I'll just add a column that asks what are the long-term effects of semaglutide, and make that a high-quality column. Note that we didn't actually find many papers here. We only found 4 papers that are classified as longitudinal. I think I'm gonna remove the filter here and just rely on the semantic search using the long-term effects here, and then I'll see whether there are any long-term effects in the column that I added. think I'll also make it say include the time frame of the longitudinal study. Okay, so here we have clinically significant weight loss and safety confirmed for up to 2 years. Again, the side effects we saw before. This one doesn't have an exact time frame. This one is a 6-month study. Decrease in body weight. Retinopathy complications, that might be something to look into more. No significant effect on the rate of death from cardiovascular causes. A few of these are still loading. We are coming up on the end of our time already, so okay, now this has loaded 68 weeks, so a bit more than a year. There are some 1 to 2 year studies, although this particular one was a 12-week study. All right, let's go back to the top and see what did we learn. So first of all, starting, I didn't know anything about semaglutide. We learned it's basically an agonist for a particular receptor that's called the GLP-1 receptor, and it mimics a kind of a hormone. Namely the GLP-1 hormone. Is available in different kinds of forms, oral or injectable, and leads to broadly kind of, I guess let's look at the effects here. So it leads to kind of lowering of blood sugar levels because it stimulates insulin secretion in a glucose-dependent manner. So if there's more glucose, it's more insulin. And glucagon, I didn't look into that, slows gastric emptying and reduces appetite and therefore food intake. It's used for treating diabetes and also, I guess, for weight loss. The main side effects seem to be nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Otherwise seems generally safe in terms of action. Mechanism of action, yeah, it's like basically what I said. You mimic the behavior of this naturally occurring hormone, and that causes these effects that I mentioned. There are some differences between the natural hormone and the semaglutide, the main one being that semaglutide does not kind of decay as fast, basically, or is not broken down as quickly by enzymes in the body as the natural hormone. There were a few mentions of some side effects like gallbladder events and retinopathy. They do not seem incredibly likely generally, even when I looked for long-term effects. It seemed like the safety profile seemed pretty good. But if I were to actually want to take this, I would probably look into the specific conditions that I mentioned a bit more and think about, well, how does semaglutide actually cause those conditions, and do I think that that is likely in my particular case or not? All right. I think that was pretty interesting. If you found it interesting too, subscribe, hit the like button. I'll see you next time. And if you have any feedback, definitely let me know. And we'll obviously try to improve Elicit and make it a real great tool for research like this. Bye-bye.